Hello, Prepper Nation. Hello, YouTube and Facebook, I do believe. Perrin, Lovett here. And once again, it's time for Prepper News Weekly for Friday, December the 8th, 2017. Pearl Harbor yesterday. And I'll get right to it. It's cold. It's cold here. Winter is technically a few weeks away, but it's already snowing across much of the U.S. I think I've had some stories about that, links on the news site. Snow in the Great Lakes region. I think New England is looking for a little snow. I got two pictures last night from my field reporter in Texas. A little rare snow in South Texas, around Austin and other places. I may actually use one of those pictures as for something today. Even expecting snow in Atlanta, parts of the Carolinas, and up the East Coast. Maybe snowing in Alabama right now. Chilly and rainy where I am. And, I get to do a little product demonstration today. Scott gets to do all of the cool product reviews all of the time while I'm stuck talking about the evils of Congress and the threats of nuclear war. But anyway, I've got a little impromptu device I can demonstrate. Preppers are always preparing for the worst and having alternatives, backups. Now, since winter is upon us and it's cold, let's say you have an automobile, kind of like this one right here. It's a good automobile, but the heater dies just in time for winter. Maybe it's poorly manufactured, cheap blend doors that collapse and block the heat exchange. And you know that there's a right way to fix that and an easy way. And honestly, I'd recommend the right way, even though the easy way sure is easy. There is a solution if you don't have heat in your car and you need it. If you have a 12-volt plug-in, and almost all cars do, you can get something like this guy, this little fella. Let me see if I've got power. No, I don't. Well, I don't want to crank up the car and ruin my sound. But anyway, you plug this little fella into the what we used to call the cigarette lighter. There's a switch in the back. You flip for heat versus fan, and coils heat up. A little fan blows out air. Has a little light if you need extra lighting. It's not much, but this small device has a non-skid surface. Will stick just about anything. It's enough to defrost a windshield, and if you let it run long enough, it will actually warm up a car where it's not unbearable. And I'm talking about temperatures around freezing. Below freezing, you might want to get two, or you might just want to fix your heater. I'm not sure who made this. I got this one at Harbor Freight. What is that? HFT Harbor Freight Tools brand. Yes. I think it was around $10, and it actually works. Just something to consider. One of those things to have. If you don't need it, throw it in the back and forget about it. Anyway, back to the news. We've had, in addition to the weather, several things going on. Resignations in Congress. John Conyers is gone. Al Franken is going. Not without a little bit of a fussy fight. More of the continuing hashtag #MeToo gate, if you want to call it that. Other news from Washington. This week, in accordance with a 20-year-old federal statute, President Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's actual capital. It's interesting that most of Europe, the Vatican, and the UN, and most Muslim nations do not. I don't see what the fuss is. It's interesting that Congress passed this law 20 years ago, or 21. This summer, the Senate unanimously reaffirmed the commitment that we need to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital and move the U.S. embassy there. So now Trump did it, and all of a sudden he's catching flack from the same people that were demanding that he go ahead and make the move. And now he's saying that we will move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem at some time in the future. That's not an inexpensive proposition. I think new embassies cost on the order of $1 billion. That's my only concern is, what's this going to cost and who's going to pay for it? But anyway, people aren't happy about it, especially Arab Muslims in the region, like Hamas. They've called for a day of rage, and I think they've even fired rockets off. So, interesting. Same old in the Middle East. What else do we have? There's so many stories going on that I'm going to put up I've got some links for this morning at the news site. I've had good links all through the week. An interesting story that is of some note for preppers I read this morning is about the ongoing, unfolding disaster, not in Washington, not in Jerusalem, but at Fukushima, at the site of the nuclear power plant meltdown. It almost defies belief. The headline story was "Hell on Earth," and apparently, now that they've gotten into the core of the reactor that melted down, they've never seen anything like it. This radiation is measured in something called sieverts or sieverts. Throughout the average year, the average person gets about 2.4 millisieverts of radiation, and this comes from background sources like sunlight, microwave ovens, EM fields off of radios and televisions. Nothing average, ordinary, but that's 2.4 one-thousandths of 1 sievert. 1 sievert will make you very, very sick and could possibly kill you. It can cause hair loss, cataract, cancer. 5 sieverts will kill about 50% of the people exposed within a month. 10 sieverts is universally lethal within a few weeks. But what you have at Fukushima is 530 sieverts. Now, forget human beings. This would almost be instantly lethal to a person. This actually destroys the robots that were built to go down into the reactor and look around. It destroys robots within 2 hours. And this is, as the material keeps decaying, this will continue for hundreds or even thousands of years. Of course, with the prevailing winds and ocean currents, not 530 sieverts, but measurable radiation has been coming on across the Pacific to places like Hawaii, Los Angeles, the Aleutians, the whole West Coast. Just something to think about. No quick fix, no cure there. And the sad part about Fukushima was it was a safety-related or a mechanical safety-related malfunction that they knew about. They had backup generators to run the cooling systems in place, and whatever the atomic agency in Japan is said, these things are too close to the ocean. If they get flooded by a tsunami, they're not going to work, and you may have a meltdown. You need to move them up the hill, and they didn't. And of course, they had a tsunami, and the generators were flooded. Coolant shut down, meltdown, 530 sieverts, robots melting. I'm not a fan of robots, so maybe we could, make lemonade out of lemons, and we could send all of the evil robots over to Fukushima to be destroyed before they turn on us. Anyway, 9 minutes, starting to ramble. Hope you're going to have hopefully there's going to be some fun snow where you are. I think I'm just going to have a wintry mix, maybe some flakes in with the rain. Definitely got the cold. Winter is upon us. Christmas is closing in. I'm going to try to keep throwing up some prepper idea shopping tips. Consider a little 12-volt plug-in car heater just for emergencies. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back on Monday.